Hi there again. Today, let's talk about the power of one clear story because if you confuse, you lose, right? So, not to have a little corny slogan there, but mixed messages definitely create loss of deals. And I know, Rob, early on when we started our video segment, we talked about the importance of having a consistent message, but let's really talk about it's not just consistent, but having one clear story that actually talks about what you as an organization, the service that you can provide, and how that gets integrated into being able to solve the client's pain point.
Yeah, I mean, a story and having one single message is so key. I love your little thing that you said at the beginning there. Yeah, if you confuse, you lose, and it is true. It is true that even if the stories that you have are compelling, if a client hears multiple stories, then what you're really doing is diluting the message. I think one of the things that I've seen is that you see a story written on a website or a key selling point. Then when you actually sit down and it reads well, but that's what it does. It reads well. You have to read it. And then you get to the end of it and it might take 20 seconds to read. And then you sit with a salesperson, or indeed you may be pitching it yourself. And you sit there and then you say something totally different because actually in person, it kind of inspires you to say it in a different way. And actually getting something that is consistent, that really hits home is so important because clients, as we said in one of our earlier videos, they encounter brands in so many different ways, whether it's face to face, web, or on social media. So having one single story is really key. And I do think the pitch situation is actually the best proof of a pudding of a story, really, because that's the one where you're looking in front of a client's eyes and you're seeing whether they're losing interest or their eyes are bright open because you've just said something that is appealing to them. And that's why connection between marketing and sales, making sure that the official story does reflect what's happening on the ground, is really, really important. Yeah.
And you know what's amazing is, like, you can think of certain company names and you automatically know exactly, who they are, what they are because of their branding, because of their the consistent experience they provide, like Starbucks, for example, right? You can walk into a Starbucks in London, you can walk into Starbucks in Paris, you can walk into Starbucks in New York, and you're gonna have the same experience in each of those store locations. You also can get the same products in each location, right? So they've spent so much time in crafting, this is who we are, and this is the service that we provide, or this is the products that we provide to our clients. You look at Amazon globally. Everybody knows what Amazon is, right? So there's no confusion as to the service that, Amazon provides. And that's the way you got to look at it when you look at your own organization. You want the client to be able to say, "Oh, I'm ABC, professional services. Well, therefore, ABC, I know it means this." Eh, there's no hunting and searching. Wait a minute, what did they say on LinkedIn? What did they say on their website? What was that portfolio that they left behind? That's the key.
That is the key. I think breaks off in my head. It kind of breaks off into two things. One is, um, what do you stand for as a company? What does it mean to do business with you as a company? So obviously in professional services and in B2B, what you're selling is people and trust and interaction, less so a product. You're more selling something much more complex than that. So you kind of need to get underneath what you actually stand for. Tied with that is that it's so important that the people within your own organization all believe it and say that same story too, because so in many ways, when you have a story, the job isn't to inform so much customers of the story. It's actually to inform your own people so that they can say it, understand it, believe in it, help shape it as well, because that is a really key part of the message as well. But yeah, stories, it's all about stories, Anna, isn't it?
It is, and it's interesting. I know myself when I early on when I started my career, and I still feel this way. If I believe it, I can sell it. right? Because people buy from people. And that really, I think, drives the point home about trust, right? Because when there's nothing greater than when you're sitting with a client and they trust you completely, where you've actually said, I can't do that piece of business that's not within our sweet spot. But you earn so much credibility with the client because they trust you, and that does drive revenue. So that's the key. It's the consistent messaging. It builds that trust because, they can talk to you, Rob, at the company, or they could talk to me. They can talk to a recruiter. They can talk to the finance, accountant, and everybody is saying the same message, the same story as to who your organization is.
Do you know, I think there's a thing around authenticity that really, really drives stories home. And I know these words sound a bit they sound a bit bland maybe, um, but authenticity means that when you say something, people believe what you're saying. And it's really words are really easy. It's really easy to write down words. And you'll see it in many company statements that we provide global solutions to solve these big problems. When you read it, you kind of go, oh, anybody can write that. So I think some part of authenticity is about saying about what you don't do and choosing the market that you're in, and saying that we are not this, we are not this, we're not this, but we are this. And it makes the "but we are this" bit much more authentic. So I think part of the storytelling is actually to really target the market that you're in and really refine what you are proposing to make you kind of different from your competitors.
Exactly. So, I mean, really what we're saying is consistency isn't boring. It's actually the key to building a fast and lasting, trusting relationship. And that's the experience that you want to have with your prospects and your clients. So, our call to action is if you had to describe your brand's story in just 3 words, what would they be? Drop them below. We'd love to see your brand essence and be able to start a conversation.